Good morning, viewers. I welcome you all to KP's Lit Charts. Today we will check up next portion of Hamlet. In the previous videos, we have already discussed what was the compulsion of Prince Hamlet to make inordinate delay, incredibly inordinate delay to take revenge against the murderer of his father, who is none other than his own uncle Claudius. So, what was his compulsion? Why, as a tragic protagonist, Hamlet had to suffer so much? He suffered for nothing. He began to debate in his mind, to be or not to be, that is the question. Whether to take the revenge or not to take the revenge. He was on the horns of dilemma. He started thinking, if I don't take revenge, it will be a kind of injustice to my father. I have made a promise to my father. As the worthy son, I have to take revenge, and this is perhaps my moral duty. I have told you Hamlet is a reflective character, an intellectual character, a wise character, a sagacious character, an erudite character, a learned character. He can't be as impulsive as Othello. Othello is impulsive, but Hamlet is very careful. Hamlet is very contemplative. Hamlet is very reflective, very intellectual, very erudite. He will make different kinds of considerations. He will weigh the issue, the pros and cons of the issue he will take into consideration before taking any decision. That is Hamlet. That is why Hamlet is called the Mona Lisa of literature. The wonderful, brilliant creation of the versatile playwright William Shakespeare. So, Hamlet, after hearing the sensational revelation from the ghost at the dead of the night, he returned to the palace and remained in a pensive and ponderous disposition. He had a kind of debate, he had a kind of great reaction in his mind. What could be the reason of my father's death? Of course, he didn't believe that his father's death was brought about by the venomous poison of a snake, by the stinging of a snake. That he was very aware that suddenly the death of his father cannot shock him. There is something else. He began to suspect the day one he landed up in Denmark from Wittenberg. After he landed up in Denmark, he found that two parallel rituals are being conducted. One is the nuptial ceremony of his uncle, and with whom the nuptial ceremony is being arranged? The marriage ceremony between his mother and uncle is taking place. When is it taking place? It is taking place when his father's funeral ceremony is going on. Quite ridiculous, quite unbelievable. He was stunned. He said, what a piece of work is man. He thought, what a piece of work is man. How man could change his colors. It's really unbelievable. He was taken by surprise. Then he kept quiet and kept everything under his surveillance. Especially, he kept Claudius' character under his surveillance. Claudius made some pretentious moves to win the goodwill of Hamlet, but Hamlet is intransigent. He was not to be convinced. Even Claudius went to the extent of telling, I am sure you are very much shocked by the sudden demise of your father. If you are shocked, I am no less shocked. You should know you have lost a father, and you should know I have lost a brother who was more than a father to me. Look at the kind of description. Look at the kind of pretentious, narration, the kind of narrative he has made. How he was very close, how he was very much respectful, how he was very much concerned about his elder brother. But Hamlet didn't believe it. So Hamlet decided to feign madness. He pretended madness. He behaved as if he has lost his mental balance, developed eccentric qualities, so much so that even he started ill-treating, misbehaving his lady love, his beloved Ophelia, the daughter of Polonius. Ophelia remained at a distance. In other words, Hamlet wanted to keep Ophelia at a distance. And there also he said, Ki, frailty thy name is woman. Because he suspected that his mother has some complicity in the murder of his father, cold-blooded murder of his father. But his father's ghost had already revealed, Ki, look Hamlet, you should take revenge against your uncle, but you should spare your mother because your mother is innocent. That speaks of the quantum of love, the intensity of love, the magnitude of love that King Hamlet was cherishing towards his wife Gertrude. Gertrude used to love him very much. But now that King Hamlet is dead, Gertrude, in order to remain the queen, continue to remain as the queen, has married or has agreed to the proposal of Claudius to marry him. And the marriage is taking place. So after feigning madness, Hamlet behaved in a very, unpredictable manner, so much so that once he was talking to his mother in the bedroom of Gertrude, and there he started shouting, and while shouting, some sound was audible, some hissing sound was audible. He came out and he brought out his dagger, and Polonius was there. He killed Polonius by saying, rat, rat. He did it knowingly. He did it deliberately. So after Polonius was killed, everybody was stunned. And people began to look askance at Hamlet's behavior. Even Claudius was very much alarmed. Claudius became concerned about his own future. And Claudius by now has realized that Hamlet will be a threat to him, will be a threat to his monarchy. Even if Hamlet is a threat to his life. So Hamlet proved to be a very great threat to Claudius' continuance as the monarch of Denmark, as the king of Denmark. So after the death of Polonius, his son Laertes, he came and he challenged Hamlet. He also asked Claudius how it happened, and he requested Claudius to take revenge against Hamlet. Claudius also decided to send Hamlet to England with a letter that Hamlet be killed in England. So two of his schoolmates, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, they were called for by Claudius, and he started pampering them, placating them, cajoling them, telling them, since Hamlet is upset, it is your job, it is your responsibility to bring him to the right track. You are his closest friends, intimate friends in school, so it is your duty to look after him and to take care of him. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, they are a bit unintelligent, a bit, foolish type, slow-witted type. They trusted Claudius, and Claudius suggested to them to accompany Hamlet to England. So they also agreed, okay, we will accompany Hamlet to England. And Claudius wrote a letter to the king of Hamlet and handed it over to Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. So the two friends, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, they both of them are close to each other. If one is body, the other is brain. Rosencrantz can't do anything without Guildenstern. Guildenstern can't do anything without Rosencrantz. So Rosencrantz and Guildenstern carried the letter from Claudius, and they accompanied Hamlet in the ship to England. On the way, Hamlet managed to collect the letter from Rosencrantz, since Rosencrantz is a bit slow-witted, bit of simpleton, foolish. He handed over the letter to Hamlet. So Hamlet read the letter, where he found his suspicion proved to be true. In the letter, it was written, addressed to king of England, he put Hamlet to death. As soon as he lands up in England, receive him and put to death. So there Hamlet manipulated the letter, changed his own name and changed to bearer of the letter. He removed his own name Hamlet and wrote there, after you receive these three persons, the bearer of the letter should be put to death. And in the meanwhile, the ship was attacked by pirates and Hamlet managed to get away from the ship and reach Denmark. After he reached Denmark, Claudius became more cautious and Claudius felt, look, my apprehension is going to be correct and Hamlet is still arriving here. And Hamlet is definitely a constant source of threat to my life, to my kingship, to my monarchy, to my comfort, to my security, safety, everything. So something should be done. In the meanwhile, Hamlet consults his friend Horatio and he invites some street players to present a play. And he wrote a script. In the script he wrote the murder of Gonzago, how Gonzago was murdered by his nephew Lucianus and his wife Baptista was in love with Lucianus and Lucianus wanted to remove Gonzago from his way, from his love. So Baptista and Lucianus, both of them murdered Gonzago. When that was staged, at that time, Claudius felt terribly upset and he left the place. When he left the place, naturally Gertrude also followed him and Gertrude started accusing Hamlet that you should not have presented such a play which has hurt the feelings of Claudius. Hamlet didn't accept it. He didn't accept the objections raised by Gertrude. And he said it was a play, just a play for the entertainment of the audience. What is there to be so serious about it? And before that, he had a very poor opinion about the women and he said in the bedroom of Gertrude, frailty thy name is woman. Oh woman, you are the incarnation of all the follies and foibles, frailties. You are the embodiment of all the frailties, all the follies, foibles, faults, mistakes, weaknesses, shortcomings. Nothing more is expected from you. This was aimed at not only Gertrude but also at Ophelia, and after seeing Gertrude's behavior, he was also disgusted with the ladies, the women, and he developed a kind of hatred towards the women and he became a misogynist. So after the play, things were very different and Claudius became very cautious to handle Hamlet, and in the meanwhile Lloyds is also trying to take revenge against Hamlet. So it was decided that there should be a kind of fencing match between Lloyds and Hamlet. In the meanwhile, Ophelia has died while plucking the flowers. Her leg slipped, she got into the river, fell into the river and she died. And when Ophelia's body was going to be cremated, at that time he said, in the crematorium, Hamlet made a wonderful dialogue. He said, when Lloyds was going nearer Ophelia, at that time he pushes Lloyds and he said, I loved Ophelia more than 40,000 brothers. But before that, the same Hamlet had said, Ophelia, get thee to a nunnery. Why should you marry and breed children? To increase corruption in the world. Same person, look at the different kinds of behavior. When Ophelia was alive and he was behaving in an eccentric manner, at that time he accused Ophelia and said, Ophelia, get thee to a nunnery. Nunnery means a brothel house. a harlot's house, a prostitute house, a place of prostitution. You should never get married because women are not chaste. Women are susceptible to, moral corruption. So get thee to a nunnery. Why should you get married and breed children to increase corruption in the society? So the same Hamlet pushed Lloyds and said, look, I loved Ophelia more than 40,000 brothers. What kind of brother you are showing? I loved Ophelia more than any brother. So I have the right to see Ophelia's dead body first. So this is how Hamlet went on making delay. Now the fencing match will take place between Lloyds and Hamlet, where Claudius has managed to poison the tip of the sword so that when Lloyds stabs Hamlet, Hamlet will be dead. But it so happened during the fencing match, Lloyd's sword was exchanged with Hamlet, and Hamlet got the poisonous sword and he stabbed Lloyds. At that time, Lloyds was killed. At that time also, Lloyds said to Hamlet, "Ki whatever has happened, your uncle is responsible for that, and uncle has manipulated everything against you. He wanted to finish you." So at that time, Hamlet also goes and stabs Claudius. So this is how, before that, Gertrude also, takes water, and that water was mixed with poison, and that poison was meant for Hamlet. So Hamlet, instead of drinking the poisonous glass of water, it was taken by Gertrude and she also dies. So this is how 7 deaths were caused before the death of Hamlet. So this is how Hamlet has come to an end, and this is a tragedy of dilatoriness and incertitude, indecisiveness. Thank you very much. Please like, share and subscribe to the video. Thank you very much. Jai Jagannath.